Welcome to Sports Tonight, everybody. I am sports producer Scott Pennyman here with the man Lee Smith. What's going on, Lee?
What's up?
How you feeling on this Tuesday?
Pretty good, pretty good. So yesterday you missed out Brett's
What
intro.
happened?
Brett's
Yeah.
intro was awesome. It was sports producer, sports photog, sports everything, and I think that's officially how I would like to be introduced from now on. So you got a lot to say right there in the beginning.
I'm sorry I didn't live up to that, man.
That's
I'm
all
sorry,
right. No,
man. I
you
just
did good.
wanted-
You did good.
so-
You did good.
I normally have like my own set of nicknames, right? I mean, when Fred Campagna comes in and does Sports Tonight, I give him all of the, Mr. NBA, a.k.a. Freddie Buckets, all that stuff.
Freddie Buckets.
And then, when Brett comes in, I got a couple nicknames for him. So you're right. I got to be fair. I've got to.
But look, I'll take that.
If my heart is really invested in this, man, I've got to come up with a nickname for you too as well.
Well, all right. Well, let's go. What is it? I gotta have a nickname.
You got to give me a minute, man.
Okay.
I mean, these
All
things. Right. I mean, this is a stroke of genius here. This is art, man. I need a while to come up with a nickname.
You would be.
So look,
P Money.
See, it's always got to be something with my
P-Money.
last name because I remember at my last station, a sports guy there called me the 1 cent wonder. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
The
there was
1 cent wonder. I like that. What about? Let's see.
a shout out to Mark Schwab.
Let's see. What?
It's
Okay,
gotta
so
be
we're gonna
something,
use
man.
first name. We're gonna use Scott. So,
Right. I mean, it's hard to come
yeah.
up with one off Scott. So
yeah,
I mean,
sportsy
I figure
Scott sounds
right.
eh,
Right. It's got to be something off my last name because that's the awkward part. I mean, Scott is pretty plain. I mean, there's a bunch of people named Scott in this world, but Pennyman, that's the unique one. So
a bunch of people named Scott. That's what. Imagine Lee.
Right. See, with yours it's Lee Smith. I mean,
Smith.
That's perhaps one of the most plain names like ever. I mean, it doesn't get more plain than Lee Smith. So yeah, I mean that's hard, man. You got to give me a minute, all right?
All
right, so I tell you what, man. Braves, let's start with some Braves tonight. Of course, we have to start with the All-Star game tonight to be played out in Seattle. The Braves with how many? 8 All-Stars tonight, right?
Eight.
So, I mean, if you're a Atlanta Braves fan, which I know everybody who's watching pretty much is, right? If you're a Braves fan, look, I mean, there's a lot to look forward to with the All-Star game tonight and getting a chance to see some of your favorite Braves out there. What are you most looking forward to tonight, Lee?
I want to see if Ronald Acuna hits a bomb on the first pitch. That'd be awesome.
Okay. All right.
Kind of like what Bo Jackson did it back in the day.
Bo Jackson,
80?
man.
7, I think, 88. Can't remember, but yeah, I think it was the first pitch. But he had a rocket shot, and he's leading off. But yeah, I just want to see if I obviously want to see the Braves do well, but want to see if Ronald Acuna can hit a moonshot right there off that first pitch. And the second thing I'm looking for is to see if the infield gets to play at the same time.
Ah, that's true.
That would be awesome. And all Braves infield.
And then on the field with Freddie Freeman.
Well, RC is the excuse me. RC is the lone starter in the infield, so he might not be in there. He's not going to be in there the whole game.
That's true.
So they might not be able to get to it, but it'd be cool to see it. It really would.
You okay? You need some water, man?
I think I do. You know what? Here you go. Oh, man.
Good, man. I'm here
With
to
the
serve. I'm here to serve you, man. That's
With
what I
the
do.
assist.
I mean, right. I mean, that's why I wasn't necessarily a really good point guard when I played basketball, but I feel like that was a pretty clutch assist.
But you're a better point guard in life.
Right? See, and that's really what matters. That's really what matters right there. It's not about what I can do on a basketball court.
Playing days are over with.
Way over with. And you guys saw that last time we played some basketball a few weeks ago. Y'all saw my playing days are over with. You know what I'm saying?
It was a little rough.
Exactly.
It was a little rough for everybody.
Right.
To be fair.
No, but yeah, I mean, just with this Braves, I mean, it's really cool. Like Acuna, I mean, look, I mean, just the kind of star that he is. So I think it should be really cool. I was watching the home run derby last night, and it was really cool. I mean, just watching some of those guys like Guerrero and those guys swing the bats, man. I mean, the game of baseball is in pretty good hands right now with a lot of these young players, and the Braves have a lot of them too, man. But watching who's that
Julio Rodriguez?
Yeah, for Seattle, man. I mean, that guy can really swing it, man. I mean,
ton of bombs.
And the way they do the home run derby now, man, I mean, you have to have some serious stamina. I mean, them balls are coming, man, the whole time.
There's a reason why whoever hits the most in round one never goes to round two.
Yeah, man, that's hard.
Or never makes it to the final, I should say.
That's tough, man. I was watching that last night. I'm like, wow, man. I remember watching home run derby as a kid, and it was much different. But that was the first time I'd really just sat down and watched like a home run derby, just kind of watched it through.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. I mean, there's a amazing amount of endurance that would go into being a home run champion as far as the home run derbies. But it's a really cool contest for the fans and everything. I thought it was really good tonight. It seems like with a lot of these games, like I've covered an All-Star weekend before, right? I covered an All-Star game when it was in Cleveland, and you have the events the night before, and you have all that stuff, and then for me, it just seemed like the game was kind of like a come down from kind of like. With a lot of these All-Star weekends, right? I mean, especially with basketball, too,
So you think they hit the peak of the week right at the home run derby?
That's what I mean,
so?
It always sort of seems that way. It seems
I actually really like the game. We were talking about this yesterday with Brett. I like the Major League Baseball All-Star game better than all the other All-Star games.
I can agree with that
personally.
Yeah,
but NBA's close second. But
yeah, I mean, I like the NBA, but let's face it. I mean,
that's a little off topic. But yeah.
No, but look, I mean, when you look at the MLB All-Star Game, it's probably the most competitive game of all of the major three sports, right? Because these guys play the game hard. I mean, there's not a whole lot of goofing around. I mean, they normally come out there ready to play a competitive game of baseball. So, yeah, I mean, I think you'll get the same thing tonight. But I think the great thing is that if we could watch some of the Braves play well in the game, I think that makes it really worth it if you're a Braves fan. Because I know just kind of growing up watching baseball, that's what made the All-Star Game worth it. When you can sit down and look, I'd wait around all night, and I rooted for the Cleveland Indians, and they were really bad when I was growing up. I mean, they were terrible. They were one of the worst teams of baseball when I was growing up around 1990, 91, 92. But you love watching the All-Star Game because I couldn't wait to see Sandy Alomar Jr. get into the game, right? Because he was like our lone All-Star all those years.
The one player.
Yeah, he was a catcher, and you knew that you would see Sandy Alomar get some at-bats. So for me, that's what it was about. So for me, that's what the All-Star Game was all about. It's not necessarily for, look, I mean, the Atlanta fans are privileged. There's a lot of Braves in the All-Star Game, so that's great for them. But I love the All-Star Game for those places that may only have one All-Star playing in the game or a minimal amount of All-Stars. Getting a chance to see your guy that you watch every night on a national stage, I think is the best part of the game.
I also want to see if Ohtani comes out and
of
course he's not pitching, but if he comes out and like drops like a 450-foot bomb on somebody.
Let Ohtani do it all.
Because we don't see a whole lot of him being on the East Coast.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean,
so this is like the one like level playing field. Everyone's gonna watch. Everyone's gonna watch this game and they're gonna see it. And if he shines, it'd be pretty cool.
Well, we don't really get a chance to really watch him on the East Coast until he goes to the Yankees. No, I'm sorry. I mean,
okay.
No. Okay, now you know how I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm sure they can afford him.
Of course. I mean, they could pay him $500 million or whatever it is they're going to pay him, and he'll be in New York, and everyone will get a chance to see him around the country, right? So, hey, let's talk a little bit of Atlanta Hawks now, right? So, obviously this is the trade season now. You get into the summer. There's a lot of, rumors always floating around. Well, CBSSports.com, it says the Hawks are one of the teams that are in the running, one of the top 2 or 3 teams that are in the running for Toronto Raptors All-Star forward Pascal Siakam, right? I mean, So apparently he can be had for the right price. I mean, if you're listening to what's coming out of Toronto, as they might be sort of nearing a situation where they may be ready to rebuild up in Toronto, Pascal Siakam, 2-time NBA All-Star and NBA champion, because he was on the championship team in 2019 when they won a title with Kawhi Leonard. He was pretty much like that team's second or third best player. So he may be on the market. That's really the kind of player. I mean, when you start thinking about basketball and how a lot of these teams try to build, they try to get those core 3 guys, right? I hate calling it big 3 because not every 3 is a big 3, but I would say they're core 3 of players. So if you have Trae Young, if you have DeJounte Murray, and you got a Pascal Siakam to the mix and be able to keep those guys, the Hawks might have something, right?
Oh, absolutely. And they got rid of John Collins, so they've got room for another forward too. So maybe they could have a new big 3. Who knows? But the article says they're in contention with Hawks on alone. They're,
of course not.
The Pacers are the other team that are trying to pursue him. So. But it article also goes on to say that Obi Toppin and Jarris Walker are 2 other forwards that they brought in this past this offseason. So, you got to wonder like how many forwards can you take on the same team?
Look, if you can get Pascal Siakam, that's the guy right there.
Yes. I just don't know how much, how many picks can you put forth for a forward, and if it's not a sure thing.
No, look, when you look at Pascal Siakam, he's a pretty durable player. He plays games. He played 71 games last season, averaged 24 points a game, got 7 rebounds and 5 assists, and he's been a really good player. Like I say, he's been a 2-time All-Star. So even after they won a championship, he's really grown to being a really good player. Now, I think that he's not. And I think after Kawhi Leonard left in Toronto, I think Pascal Siakam is not the kind of guy who's the best player for a championship team. But I think if you add him to what the Hawks already have, to Trae Young, to DeJounte Murray, I think he can be that second or third best player for a team that can really contend for something. And so I think that's what they're thinking here.
Especially if he's your third best option, then that's saying something.
Yeah, he
can be a strong number 2 on most every team.
For sure.
So
sure.
If he's your third best option, then you're gonna have a good year.
You're looking at him, like I say, he's a versatile. I've always liked this game. He's a versatile, lengthy guy who can score a bunch of different ways. He can make plays on the defensive end. So I think he's the kind of player that the Hawks need, that the Hawks are really kind of craving. That guy, that two-way player that can that can get buckets outside of trade, that can get to the bucket, that can score in a variety of different ways. I think that's the kind of player. I'm just surprised that there's not more competition for him. You mentioned the Pacers and the Hawks. That seems kind of scarce for a guy who's a 2-time All-Star, an NBA champion. I would think there'd be more competition to be able to acquire him. But if you can look, if there's minimal competition to go get him, I think that's the move. But a lot of that might be too that a lot of teams don't have the money to go after him.
Right. It's like always about the money. Come on.
Yeah.
It's always about the money.
And I think from what I understand, if I look up here, his contract situation too, when you look at Pascal Siakam's contract situation, I think that's part of it too. He'll be a free agent after this season, right? So right now he's getting $37 million for this season. He's under contract for 1 more year. Yep. So I think that's the big problem there. I think teams know that he's going to cost you a whole load of money as soon as this contract is up. So, I think that's probably most of it right there. A lot of teams probably aren't getting in on the bidding because they don't have the money to pay him once this contract is over, because right now it's $37 million. That price is probably going up after this season. So,
for sure. It always does. It never goes down.
Right. So he'll be a $45, $50 million player. A lot of teams probably don't want to pay that price tag. So that's probably why the Hawks are probably in good. Hey, look, the Hawks are in good line. They've got DeJounte Murray taken care of for about $30 million a season, which for that kind of player is probably kind of a bargain. You got Trae Young kind of locked up long term. So if you can get a Pascal Siakam, if you can make that trade, that's your core 3 moving forward, and you can build around that core 3. I would say maybe trade Siakam, maybe put DeAndre Hunter in that mix, maybe Clint Capella, a couple draft picks. I think that's the kind of. I think if you include those guys, I think if you include Clint Capella, DeAndre Hunter, with a couple first-round picks, maybe 1 or 2 first-round picks, I think that deal gets done.
And then you're going to have to take on a contract too, like that.
Yeah, look, this is the NBA, right?
Better be worth it, right?
Yeah, I think if you get Pascal Siakam, and if Quinn Snyder is the kind of coach that they think he is, that they brought him in to be, I think this is a contending team. I think this is a team that you can look at and go, they could be one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the Eastern Conference year in and year out and compete for a trip to the finals.
Hey, they better be for all that.
It's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of bread, But look, I enjoy. I can say it's not that big of a deal because it's not my money, right?
But you got to risk it for the biscuit, man. Come on,
yeah, man. You got to
play it safe.
Look, in the NBA, especially with the new CBA, but with all the CBAs, right? There's a minimum amount of money that you have to spend on your players, right? The NBA is making a lot of money right now. There's a lot of reason why role players in the NBA are making $25, $30 million, right? A guy who was clowned this offseason, right? Remember Dylan Brooks for the the Memphis Grizzlies, right? When he got
for going after LeBron,
right, exactly. He went after LeBron. He was clowned for it. A lot of people were like, "Oh man, nobody wants Dylan Brooks." Well, Dylan Brooks signed for 4 years, $80 million. He's getting $20 million a year from the Houston Rockets, and he's kind of a role player. So that lets you know what kind of money is in the NBA right now. So if the Hawks want to really seriously compete for a championship, I think that's the kind of guy. If you have to pay Pascal Siakam moving forward, 40, 45 million a year for the next 4 or 5 years, you got to do it. Look, the money's there. The money's there. They make billions of dollars. They can do it. Let's cut the check, man. And of course, once again, that's a lot easier to say because it ain't my money.
I just want to see some high flying action.
Yeah, man, let's go. It's about time that franchise does something interesting, right? I mean, the Hawks for years have just kind of been a blah sort of franchise in a basketball team. I think that's the kind of move that would generate some kind of excitement.
Yeah.
And I love the Hawks, right? I do stories with the Hawks all the time. I love the team, but just as far as on the basketball court, they've just been kind of blah for the last couple of years. So, I mean, I think they need to generate some sort of excitement on the court.
You clearly weren't here for their run in 21. That was not a blah year.
You're right. I mean, that was the one.
That was a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, but we all know, right? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? I mean, look, I guess they were bound to get there and get that way at some point. But then
so like 90% of the NBA has been broken for a long time because they've never gotten to the finals. Like what?
Well, no, I mean, it was a. I've stopped short of calling that a fluke season, right? Because I didn't think
a broken clock is not a broken franchise. They do not equate.
No, I wouldn't call the Hawks a broken franchise, right? I mean,
I know.
They're year after year. They got some really good players. They're a contending team. I just think at this point they've reached a point where they need to go for it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about a team that always goes for it, UGA football, right? So 24/7 Sports, they do a lot of college basketball stuff, right? So they rated the top quarterbacks in the SEC.
Yep.
Coming into the 2023 season, and they got our old buddy. I guess they're just assuming who's going to be the starter for UGA, right? Even though we don't really know for sure who the starter is going to be, they seem to think it's going to be Carson Beck, and they have him ranked as this number 6 best starting quarterback in the SEC. So, Lee, you are just about at every game, right? I mean, you may as well play for UGA. I think you're at every football game that they play pretty much. Do you think Carson Beck, do you think there's 5 quarterbacks in the SEC better than Carson Beck? I guess the most appropriate way to ask this question is, do you think Carson Beck is good enough to be the 6th ranked quarterback in the SEC? Will be?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean, especially with like all the talent around him. I mean, goodness. If you can hand the ball off to like 4 dudes that can run for 100 yards every game,
right? And
then you just have to make safe throws. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
You got McConkey, Brock Bowers. Can't remember who transferred out. Was it A.D. Mitchell transferred out?
Yeah, I think A.D. Mitchell transferred out. They got the one really fast guy who scored the touchdown against Ohio State when he was like wide open. He had nobody was within like 40 yards of him.
Yes.
I can't think of his name. I know we talk with him. His name is blanking me right now.
But yeah. I mean, when you've got
lots of weapons.
Well, and that offensive line every year has been just absolutely massive.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, at G-Day, he looked good. I mean, he didn't do anything to lose the job at all. I mean, Brock Vandegrift actually really did good too. Actually, they had pretty good quarterback play all around. So that's a good problem to have if you're Kirby. But yeah. No, Carson Beck at 6 right now. I mean, but thing is, he's got a ton of room. He can wiggle room. Because, let's see, they've also got Devin Leary from Kentucky as 3rd. And I hadn't seen that guy play all year. Not at all. He hadn't played.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean,
the one that kind of surprised me a little bit, though, and I'm going to go to your school, right, is they got Jalen Milroe, who I heard a lot of buzz around for, seemed like the last couple of years now at Alabama. They have him at number 10.
Yeah.
I gotta believe he's gonna be a little better than that, right?
I mean, we don't even know if he's gonna start. So like, I don't even know if you can put him at 10.
Wow, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, they got to transfer. Transfer out of Notre Dame. They've also got.
That's right.
Why am I blanking? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking so hard.
So right here it says Tyler Buckner, right? That's who coming in from
he's a transfer, and then there's also another guy. And then Jalen is also in rotation. So I'll tell you what, though, he did help us win a couple of games last year when Bryce Young got hurt.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was the A&M game. Very ugly game, but came out with a dub. I mean, first game on the road, hostile environment. Got the W. That's really all you can ask for at that point.
Yeah.
Man, it's surprising because, you never really – when you think of Alabama, you think of they have solid offense, and
for sure,
this is like the one time we don't really know if they're going to put it together.
Yeah, I think when you look at one thing that's interesting about this list too. So Carson Beck is at number 6, right? And truthfully, I don't even think that UGA needs Carson Beck to be any better than where he is. Like you mentioned, there's so many weapons around him, right? I mean, they're going to be able to run the ball. They can give the ball to pretty much anyone. He could be a 100-yard back in a given game. Their offensive line is so strong. Obviously, you have Brock Bowers, who is probably going to be a top 7 or 8 draft pick next year.
You think he goes as late as 7? He's going to be top 3.
I guess I'm just saying he right.
Depending on who wants a quarterback.
Right. I guess I'm just saying he's not going below that.
He could be like the best overall player, but he just won't get drafted top 1 or 2 because everybody goes for a quarterback.
You're right. Yeah, I mean,
dude is an absolute stud.
He's an all-world sort of quarterback. I mean, yeah, he's an all-world tight end. So yeah, there's so many weapons around him, and I've said time and time again, they had the quarterback who transferred in from the kid who's going to Buford next year.
Dylan Raiola?
Yeah, so Dylan Raiola. So that was just sort of interesting when he transferred to UGA to me because in the time I've been covering the team, right? I mean, which hasn't been that long, but in the time I've been covering Georgia, and I've watched them before I even came here to really cover them, it doesn't seem like they run an offense that really features the quarterback a whole lot, right? So they don't really seem to need their quarterback to be a hero to really go out there and showcase his skills. They just need him to play in the scheme of the offense, hand the ball off, get the ball where it needs to go, and that's good as far as winning, right? I mean, because they win football games that way. But if you want to showcase yourself to be on the next level and to really be, a top draft pick or to showcase your draft ability, I guess is the best way to put it, it doesn't seem like UGA is that place. So it kind of surprised me a little bit when Raiola transferred there. And so if you're
Stetson Bennett came back.
Yeah, I mean, look, and he was a 4th-round draft pick. So, I mean, I guess it's not totally true. So, I mean, and he may get a chance to start with the Rams at some point, maybe sooner rather than later. But it just doesn't seem like if you're a quarterback and you really want to showcase your skills that UGA is the place for you. I guess that's all I'm saying, But,
I'll take being a 2-time national championship winning quarterback.
Right,
back to back.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, if you want to win, there's no better place in the country to play quarterback at than UGA.
Hey, if you're a quarterback and you can play in the SEC, especially the best team in the country at that point, that's saying something. So,
sure.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, look, I mean,
you're gonna be on national television every week. Everybody's gonna watch you. So if you show up in those games,
they're gonna watch you hand the ball off every week. No, I'm joking.
Dude, they're going to throw it. I think they're going to throw a decent bit.
Think they're going to throw a lot more this year?
I don't know if it's going to be more, but they'll definitely throw a decent bit. It'll be, I don't know.
I mean, I just think
because they just have too many good running backs to just not hand the ball off at least half the snaps.
Yeah, it just seems to me like Kirby Smart, and who am I to tell Kirby Smart what to do, right? He's one of the best coaches, period, in football in the whole country at any level. So, yeah, I mean, I would never try to say what Kirby Smart should do as a head coach because he knows he's forgotten 50,000 times more football than I'll ever know, right? It just seems to me like, though, if you're a quarterback and your goals are really showcased, it just seems to me like him and I guess he was trained by Nick Saban, so he kind of looks at the quarterback position the same way. It just really seems like Kirby looks at the quarterback position almost like it's an afterthought. And not a total afterthought, but he doesn't ever feel like his quarterback needs to be great in order for his team to win. He just wants you to go in there and do your job and, hand the ball off, dump it off, get it where it needs to go.
It's really hard to lose when you don't turn the ball over. So.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, but it's smart, though, because, they win so much. They haven't lost a game.
When you have a defense to back it up and you don't necessarily have to score 50 points a game.
True.
Then, obviously, it's going to come out better for you in the end. But number 1, they have KJ Jefferson.
Oh, yeah.
From Arkansas.
Yeah. I mean, he's a big-time – a lot of pro scouts like him.
Yeah. And then number 2 was from LSU, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, I think LSU. That's my team to watch right now. When you look at LSU just moving forward, I think they're a team that
they're good.
That's really come make some moves. Hey, so we got to get to this NFL real quick though. But UGA, they'll be fine. Whether it's Carson Beck,
they got Joe Milton at 4 though for Tennessee. What's up?
Yeah, Joe Milton. I tell you what,
man.
We're gonna have to dig more into this. We're gonna have to dig more into this in coming days. But look, as far as UGA,
he can throw the ball. Holy crap!
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean,
sling it, dude.
There's some quarterbacks in the SEC, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
right,
look, I mean,
topic number 4.
Let's go to it from a team who is probably not going to lose a game this year to a team who's probably going to lose quite a few games this year, the Atlanta Falcons, right? So
come on.
So, well, I'll say, like, you know, so they're probably just as mad as so the Falcons Twitter. Let me just start like this. So last week, CBS Sports comes out with their list of top 32 coaches in the NFL. They put Arthur Smith at 29th, right? So that didn't make the Falcons Twitter very happy. They were upset about it, and they were like, come on, man. A lot of Falcons fans on Twitter were really upset by his ranking, but 29th, Arthur Smith, the 29th best coach in the NFL. Do you think that's fair?
No.
You think he'd be lower?
No, I thought he'd be
No.
Oh, God, no. Look, man, the guy.
Come on, man.
I have seen more train wrecks in the NFL than 3 more train wrecks than Arthur Smith in the NFL within the last couple of years. I mean, I don't know where I'd put him, but I promise you he wouldn't be in the bottom 3. Or bottom 4, I guess, rather. But that's crazy. I mean, he had a quarterback last year that could throw the ball for 20 yards down the field. And I have no idea what Marcus Mariota's completion rate past 20 yards was, but it wasn't a lot. I promise you that much.
Yeah.
So now they got Desmond Ridder. I think they'll have a little bit more success in the air, which should in turn open up the run lanes for the run game, and they should be better, or at least have more opportunities to be better. But it's funny, you say he comes in at 29. All right, so 28th was the Bucs head coach, Todd Bowles. The Saints head coach, Dennis Allen, was number 27.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Come on now.
So 2 of your division opponents were 27 and 28, and you're 29.
Dennis Allen.
Come on, that's just dumb.
No, I agree with that.
Dumb.
I mean, Dennis Allen ain't never won nowhere. You know what I'm saying? At no time. Dennis Allen is one of the worst. Dennis Allen might be the worst coach in the NFL. I mean, you talking about a guy that don't. Dennis Allen is a coach, man, that don't never want to win, man. I mean, like he was in Oakland, terrible record. Last year with New Orleans, really bad record. Dennis Allen has never done. I don't even know how he's still a head coach.
To be fair, there are like 2 people on the planet who ever had a good record in Oakland. So,
well, I mean, look,
and within the last 20 years, not really.
Dennis Allen had a pathetic record as the Oakland Raiders head coach. How in the hell did he get a head coaching job with the New Orleans Saints? I have no idea how he got a second coaching job. There are better coaches that were fired from their first job that still haven't gotten a second chance. Dennis Allen miraculously gets a second coaching job, and he's stinking just as bad at that job as he did his first job. I have no idea how Dennis Allen has a second job. And then he was terrible last season, so he's probably going to be fired this season. So, yeah, I mean, I have no idea. Yeah, he should not be ahead of Arthur Smith.
So I'm glad we renamed this segment, why does Scott hate Dennis Allen?
I don't hate Dennis Allen. I just don't. I just don't understand at all how he got a second coaching job when he was just so pathetic in his first coaching job. That's all. And he's being equally as pathetic in this coaching job. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, I mean, that's. Hey, look,
Dennis.
Coach Arthur Smith has my back on that one because he is not a worse football coach than Dennis Allen. Very few people in professional football are worse coaches than Dennis Allen. How he continues to have a coaching job in the NFL is just beyond me. I have no idea, bro. None.
Okay, so this will be their 3rd season under Arthur Smith, and they were 7-10 in his first 2. Yeah. So 7-10 last 2 seasons. I mean, it's not great, but
yeah, look,
when you're rebuilding, you're going to go through a couple of slow years, even
right?
3. I mean, that's just how it is. Standard rebuilds 3 to 4. I mean, I know coaches get fired for less, sometimes 2.
Speaking of getting fired for less, Dennis Allen's record as a head coach is 15-38, right? And he's miraculously and he's back for a 5th year as an NFL head coach. I have no idea. Yeah, you're right. Arthur Smith should not be below Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is one of the worst coaches I've ever seen in my time watching professional football, and he still has a job. I don't get it. Arthur Smith, that list is a travesty alone for just putting Arthur Smith below Dennis Allen. You're right. I'm sorry. So Brett's wrapping us up, man. I want to go on and on some more about Dennis Allen. Real quick, Lee, what's on your mind?
Ooh, I don't really understand why you hate Dennis Allen so much.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what's on my mind real quick because he stinks as a head coach. He's 15-38 and got a second job in the National Football League. I have no idea how that happened.
God,
that's what's on my mind. All right, wait, look, he can see this all he wants. His record is still going to be 15-38 as a head coach, all right? Look, that's Sports Tonight on a Wednesday. Lee, thanks, man.
Yep, always.
Hey, we'll be back tomorrow.